Lillian the Waters in the Understanding series, in the Voice of the Eternal. The real world. Knowledge of the real world is not gained by way of any thinking, but is a knowing by being, and is called the Christ, revelation, or illumination. Regardless of our seeming separation into manifold beings in another world, we may contact the real world now, if we will but turn from shadows to place our love, faith, and trust and belief in that world which in reality can never be contained in a system. Without illumination, the world of reality cannot be known or expressed. Scientific knowledge of reality is an utter impossibility. Truth is not a science. Science deals with cause and effect, with reason, logic, and argument. It is the shadow of the living truth, but never can it show us how to depart from the personal unreal to the eternal real. Plotinus, a Greek philosopher, states, quote, "Science implies discursive reason, and discursive reason manifoldness. To attain utter unity, we must rise above science. You can only apprehend the infinite by a faculty superior to reason, by entering a state in which you are your finite self no longer. Like can only apprehend like. When thus you cease to be finite, you become one with the infinite." End of quote. The Absolute plants us where our roots have ever been, in the real world, as the identical being we have been praying to, and the very reality we have been walking towards as though a great way off. The mind of the personal, bound in its own illusions, always demands answers to its questions. How can I be healed of this or that, or demonstrate my perfection? The voice of the Eternal cannot answer illusion by illusion, nor satisfy intellectual yearnings by the knowledge of the Absolute, any more than one can communicate with another who is asleep. Reality can only be transmitted to those who can hear it, those willing to turn from shadows to another world, to that world which is already perfect and complete, and here see ourselves and others, as well as all creatures and things, as they really are and ever have been. Our departure has its price too, which is that of repentance and forgiveness. This is presented in detail in lesson number 11. Those who would grab the real without such preparation must necessarily retrace their steps, as the way is the same for all. The first words of the prodigal son, when ready to depart from illusion, were these: "I have sinned." Luke 15:18. And Jesus, in his giving up of the ghost of, or his complete letting go of the personal, exclaimed with infinite love, "Forgive them." Luke 23:24. The absolute way does not sanction the bringing of perfection into multiple personal minds or beings, or into their assumptive imperfect bodies, nor the acquiring of peace and harmony in some other world. Outside of spiritual revelation, all aim and desire is to apply truth to individual problems such as my deafness, my painful joints, my grief, my son, my rights, and so on. All such efforts point to another being, another body, and another world beside the one. Thus, it is not a healing of conditions in personalities which is needed, nor yet a moving from another world into the real, but an overcoming in ourselves of the illusion of separateness and otherness. For so long as one is lost in such illusion, he will continue to want his body healed, his thoughts controlled, and his world changed. This basic illusion can be blotted out only by one's activity in the acceptance of unity. When Jesus was confronted with problems concerning separate beings in another world, quote, he raised his eyes to heaven. He looked up, meaning that he did not treat nor pray over sick minds or bodies, but looked into the real world to see things as they really are. Then he gave thanks for them, and from this state of realization announced, "Thou art made whole. Arise and walk." Reader, fix your gaze now upon the real world and see it governed and controlled as one all, even as described in the book of 1 Chronicles 29:11-13. Looking into this world, heaven, we cannot see war, sin, sickness, nor any discord, thus see no necessity to heal them. Therefore, those today who suffer in grief because of loved ones in war will first of all need to conquer illusion in themselves, the illusion of separate beings in another world. And this they do by placing their loved ones in the one and only world there is, which in truth they have never left. It is easy to see them here as safe, secure, happy, free. Refuse to consider them otherwise or in any other world. As you do this, you are bound to find conviction rising from within yourself that it is so. The same way applies to other problems also. Stop treating yourself or conditions such as pains or aches or troubles of any kind. Take your vision, your thoughts, and your emotions from the pictured illusion and look into the one and only world, heaven. Immediately, you will become aware of things and beings as they are here. Nor will it be possible for you to see need of any healing, change, or adjustment whatever. Worship this reality. Love it above all else. Cleave to it with all your heart and the illusion of separateness will leave you, and with it will go the problem. A bird may keep its eyes so fastened upon a snake as to be charmed by its gaze, and thus forget its natural way of escape through flying. If for the briefest fraction of a second he will but remove his eyes from the snake, spontaneously he will remember his wings and be set free. The illumined have all left the same report for us. That is, if we will but take our eyes, thoughts, and emotions entirely away from the pictured trouble, whatever it may be, to obey the divine edict, look unto me, behold me, and our heart responds with love. Very soon, often instantaneously, we shall find complete peace and satisfaction, and the illusion has vanished. Our peace and harmony cannot be found or experienced as a separate personality in another world other than the one. It is the truth we see and accept in the real world which shall restore our souls and set us free. As we become active in the world of reality, we shall escape the illusion of a personal self and its never-ending personal problems, and shall have that immunity which is born of our experience in the real world. Anything we feel we lack or need, we shall find in ourselves, in our reality, in the world of the real. Never shall we find satisfaction in any performances in the world of individuality. The eternal all is past, present, and future, as one ever-abiding reality. This is our being, to take, to have, to love, and to experience always, in the here and now. There can be no darkness or illusion where the infinite light shines in its own glory. Always when we attend ourselves to the perfect and the real, the disharmony or problem vanishes. Falsity or illusion, therefore, is dissipated by the light of one's own realization and illumination. It may be that some who have already accepted their identity with and as the One may not yet be fully satisfied with their present experience. Happily, there is eternal revealing. It may be asked what awareness or apprehension could be possibly more expansive than to identify oneself with the completeness and perfection of the One. The answer comes only through the voice of the eternal, inner illumination. As no illustration can be considered either small or great in itself, I will relate the experience which gave me the answer to the above question, which light will shed itself upon all those who will receive it. To find a parking place for one's car on a very busy street may sound inconsequential compared to locating a suitable home for oneself today in an already overcrowded city. But the answer to both problems is the same. Up to a certain, I have always been able to locate a place for my car quickly, regardless of any relative conditions, knowing who I am. But then came an occasion as follows. I was about to drive into an open space when the car just preceding me backed into it. This happened 3 different times in succession, and all within a few minutes, so that I knew that I must find the answer. The first thing that came to me was this. The driver in each case had as much right to that particular place as I had. Then a light flashed to me that explained everything. I saw that in this case I must not be content to see reality for myself alone, but that I must include all, the whole world in my vision. I saw clearly that all were already within the all, and so of course there was room for all. A parking place was then immediately available to me. Although one's vision and identification of oneself with and as the One is a mighty and most glorious one, there must inevitably arise an occasion when we shall be required to include the whole world in our concept of perfection. And in doing so, we shall find our own needs gloriously supplied. Suppose, for instance, in looking for an apartment, that one discovers too few places and too many seekers, and find others to have advantages over him. Then, instead of knowing for himself that he is in and of the one being who has all, let him expand his vision to behold and include infinity. Let him see room for all in the all, and the all already in the all. In fact, let one see that it takes all to have to be the all. It takes all to have and to be the all. The same awareness may be taken for other activities as well. Seeing perfection, satisfaction, peace, and plenty for the whole world as the one all, one shall most naturally enjoy the experience of having these for himself. Unity is not a combination of separate people or things, since every so-called nation, race, country, or individual that is of God is included in the real world, in that world which we know to be the one all. There is sight for all, health and wholeness for all, harmony and joy for all, because infinity already includes all. With this vision and awareness, born of illumination, one loses all sense of responsibility and simply and naturally functions in his real being. Therefore, taking perfection of the whole world into our awareness is the realization which will blot out the illusion of a world war and of everything connected with it. Surely this must be the vision for the elect today, as predicted in Matthew 24:22.